quarterfinal, we had everyone's favorite team, VirtualVikings frenzied for Stobbs, the Amazonians, taking on JuodasVarnas as the Never Dying, who I had really hoped he would go on to win the whole damn thing. Not least of which because I wanted the person to knock me out to go on and win the whole damn thing, so at least I can say that. Oh, but he won the whole thing. Anyway, 2-0 for the Amazons. Interesting. Get into it.
Time for a replay.
JuodasVarnas Halflings versus VirtualViking.
Welcome back, Blood Bowl. Everyone makes
Oh god, that fucking Halfling chef.
Imagine what will be said to be a
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
I'm amazed the Amazons still have one. Like, imagine the undead or
Necromantic have 0.
yeah.
But I'm gonna have the view be for the Amazonians. No, the Amazonians, just because otherwise those trees obscure half the bloody field.
I know what you mean. Absolute units.
Those absolute units are double-edged wooden swords, because when I played against him, he ended up getting one of his halflings tackled because he didn't even realize there was a halfling stood behind the trees, because you can't even see your own pieces behind them sometimes. Right, this
Maybe
game,
that'll be something they put in Blood Bowl 3, outlines around your units so you can see them even if big guys are in the way.
I'm really looking forward to Blood Bowl 3. I just really hope that they don't change the core of the game, which is the RNG rage-inducing bullshit. I hope that they mustn't blunt the edges of the game. So, notwithstanding the fact that you know what the result is, how would you expect this matchup to go?
Well, it's a tough one because, the whole time I've been thinking, half a great team that we found out eventually, but they keep coming past it. And my favourite moment this whole tournament so far has to be that halfling throw touchdown.
Yes.
I think it was the end of the round robins. Round 5 maybe? Well worth watching the YouTube highlights if you haven't seen it already.
The same amount of bullshit was done against me in my quarterfinal multiple times, where it just felt like if I couldn't get someone onto that +4, onto that Agi 4 halfling, then he can just throw it pretty much at will, because he threw it 3 times and he stuck the landing 3 times and just runs it in. So playing against him, it felt very much like he can score pretty much at will.
This is really unfortunate for the halflings. Not only injury first round, which, is a bit par for the course, but here I think, what was it, 2 dice and 3 dice, and all you got to push is for it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's to my point of spending money for fan factor, because in how many games have we watched where the game starts, it's a kickoff, it's a frenzy, and it's a blitz, sorry, and that first blitz just decides the whole game.
Yeah, I'm coming around to that idea.
So Viking, you can only spend money on fan factor when you're creating the team, which is why my argument is I'm going to start spending more money on fan factor when I create the team, which will hurt it in the short term, but could help you in the long run. Because yes, you continue to gain fan factor, but the fan factor that you gain is just added to the fan factor that you start with when you create the team. Oh, these fucking Amazons! I'm going to throw up on my keyboard. But again, as bad as they are, I think the elves are worse.
Yeah, I mean, if we have a 24-man team, we're going to see something as well. We're going to see every faction.
We're going to see a lot of elves.
No, that's more like it. Mighty Blow doing its thing. Oh, nasty one as well.
That's a dangerous place to be.
Ooh, it's Puggy. He's a star player. He's got Blodge, Nerves of Steel. Oh, take root. You hate to see it. Just check this out. Grab. Does grab get cancelled out by dodge?
I don't think so. I think this is a choice. I think it might be 2 turns in a row he's chosen not to grab.
It doesn't. So that's interesting because he manipulated my guys with grab every time. I think.
I guess you're keeping the Amazon on the side you want, which is away from the ball, and in this case, near your stop there.
But the thing is, though, I would want that piece on the left side of the field because the ball's on the right-hand side of the field.
True.
So Freedom points out that only stand firm cancels grab. This looks nasty for the Halflings. His half of the pitch is flooded with Amazons, and the injuries just keep coming. But I mean, that is what's going to happen when a 6 AV piece gets hit by a mighty blow piece. So what is the percentage chance for an armor break on a 5 AV? So you have to roll.
Christ. It's really high, right? So it's a 2d6, and all you need to do is get 7 or better.
God! That's a slaughter.
Oof.
Ugh.
Yeah, sorry, to go back to your point from earlier, to get 7+ on 2d6 is what I was saying earlier, since 7 is the most common, you have 1 in 6 chance of getting 7, and then the other is the rest of it. So I believe it's over 50%, but I believe it's 58.3%. Repeating, of course.
Wow, that is nasty. And it is turn 3. We got 2 injuries and a fatality. And crucially, the most important thing for the Amazons here is that plus edgy halfling is off the pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! This is gruesome now. It's turn 3 and this is a bloodbath.
Did you say the Amazons got completely field wiped in one of their matches?
Indeed, they did.
I mean, it's looking like it might.
Payback.
The shoe might be on the other foot now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is where, if I were the Amazons, you'd have to sort of not get too carried away. You don't have any rerolls, and you don't have control of the ball yet.
Yeah. Well, you
But
know
I
what?
would equally really just want to smash some halflings.
Yeah, but then again, like I mean, as someone who's played Chaos, so maybe it's the touch of Tzeentch still in my system. I would be like, fuck that. It's turn 3. Let's just keep murdering them. I can score at will if you just keep getting these bodies off the field. So these halflings have 3 reserves, but you've got 4 off the field. So already on turn 3, there's a 1-man advantage, even after the reset.
And right, yeah, the tree men, they just stand.
They just stand there.
For 3 rounds, and now they'll never be in this game.
And I mean, seeing how these tree men are just being ignored, it's a real lesson for me. Where I made the decision with my claw pieces to try to knock them down, and I think the lesson there is it's never worth it to even try knock down the tree men.
No, I mean, if you kite the tree men, often the roots will take care of themselves.
Just run away from them and let them get stuck in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah. And Amazons have the team to do that. You know, Chaos, you're a little bit more mobility than to Dwarfs the same.
And what felt horrible with the Chaos was you always have to have at least 1 goat in contact, at least in the beginning. You can try dodge away, but you know it would fail, and the trees would just move up and just punch a goat every turn, and it's horrible. So this was the Amazon's drive, though, wasn't it? I believe it was.
No, this is the Halfling drive.
Oh God!
Look at the turn counters here. Yeah. Because we got the unusual switch view, I found it difficult to keep track of where we're going. But I think, yeah, the Amazons are 4 squares from switch.
And there's the take route. Both is that double take route in a row, or the other one was already taken route?
No, the other one took route 2 turns ago, I think.
So this is a nightmare situation for halflings.
Yeah, I mean, this is the situation in which, even with the numbers advantage here, I would just murder all the halflings on the field first, and then touch it down. Simply because you know you've got them exactly where you want them.
I wouldn't bother fouling the halflings, though.
No, I think... I suppose the thing is that what JuodasVarnas can do, and it feels wrong, is just leave his guys lying down.
Well,
and then you're like, well,
indeed. I mean, I have done that before when I'm getting my shit pushed in particularly hard. I'll just leave my pieces on the ground on their backs and force the enemy to foul me, so at least then I have a chance of them getting sent off.
Expect to see that on fail term very soon.
yeah, I'm with you, Viking. I'm tend not to do fouls on this. Either I'm feeling very vindictive, really tilted, or it's really necessary.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I don't like fouls. The more I play, the more I come along the thought process that fouling isn't just a dick move. And I mean, it's you know, you especially as a new player, you think, oh, that's unfair, it's bullshit, it's a dick move. But fouling does have its tactical place in the game.
Yeah, I mean, one of my plans for this one was to use my goblin as my most expendable piece to just foul things. And sometimes, you know, just getting us done on round 6 is all you need to win the game. So I think fouling, the more I think about it, the more it feels okay. Like, it feels horrible when you come into sort of a claw piling on mounted blow kind of guy who's ruining your big guys or whatever. But it does have high risk, and it can be high reward.
And I would also just point out, though, for me, one of the ways I think of fouling is that if I get fouled first, then all bets are off. Then I'm happy to foul the other person back. But I'm reluctant to start it.
Well, he's not knocking out his own halflings.
Yep,
so.
yep.
Come on.
And just to go to your point about fouling with orcs, I read a very interesting thread on the subreddit about how to build the orc team, and the consensus seems to be that the way to get the most value out of your linemen is to make them sneaky player fouling specialists, because if you have a goblin, you really want that goblin to be thrown and scoring, you know.
Yeah.
And I think one of the arguments was made was that the orc linemen are so cheap that you can quite easily afford to buy one or two, give them sneaky git, and then just not level them up further. And if they do level up beyond that, you just fire them and get a new one.
Yeah. I can see it. I've never taken, any dirty player skills for them before, so.
Hang on, so there's two of them. There's dirty player and there's sneaky git.
Yeah. But I mean, any of the sort of foul system things I've never tried out.
And just to go to Super Duper's point, I think he's spot on about the fact that what you have to consider when you're thinking about fouling is who you're fouling. Like if you're playing against the Amazons, getting that mighty blow tackle piling on bitch off the field, you should be willing to pay a very heavy price to get her off the field.
Oh,
if you get that piece off the field, that's 80% of the threat off the field.
Yeah, I mean, in other things we've also had, the 5 agi Skavens, the werewolf with all those skills on it. There are some pieces that are clearly the MVPs and need to be stopped.
I imagine it's pretty much a common thing among Blood Bowl players that the longer they play, the more willing they are to foul. Basically what I'm saying is I think experience directly correlates with willingness to foul. Another good point by Super, if you use a 40k piece to foul that 100k piece Amazon, that's so worth it. You're getting more than double value.
Yeah.
Did JuodasVarnas not go in with a wizard? Because I think you could have very well made an argument for get a wizard, just a lightning strike that bitch at the right time, and then just kick the shit out of her. Even if she's not carrying the ball, you just lightning her to get her on her back, and then just start kicking the shit out of her.
That's the point, actually. Did we see the wizard used last game?
Oh, we did not.
Best, is it 300k, 150k?
No, he did. He used lightning bolt on the ball carrier.
And
then it was a stun.
I was really hoping for a fireball on a load of Skavens.
Let me just look as a cautionary tale with the fireball. With my human team, I cast the fireball into 5 enemies and 1 got knocked down and the other 4 were unaffected. I took it well. I didn't rage and whine at all. I took it in good spirit. Okay, so talk to me, Exile. Put yourself in JuodasVarnas' shoes. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1 dead, 4 injured. How do you win the game from here?
I think I cry a lot, basically. It seems to be it. I mean, how do you even recover the ball here? That's what is the worst thing. Because it's now the Amazon's drive and their
And you have to score twice.
like, it's hard enough even to see a way to score once. If it was your drive and you could see your way to equalising, then I think things would be a bit different.
I feel like if I look at the two teams, in terms of how valuable they are for what each team wants to do, that 4 edgy halfling is as valuable to JuodasVarnas as that killer piece is for VirtualViking. So losing the plus edgy halfling was devastating.
I think I mentioned chess before, but actually to use an analogy here, in chess when you're ahead, you just kind of want to trade pieces, even if it's not actually that good for you, because you just want to get less power on the board. It's a similar thing here. You've got so many numbers up in the halflings that you don't need your best piece. You just need him not to have his, queen in this metaphor.
Yeah, numbers advantage. So once you're ahead, even if you're trading equally, you're maintaining your lead.
Yeah, you're just making a comeback harder and more disappointing.
So I think JuodasVarnas' best chance of winning this game at this point is for internet outage of the Amazons. I think
www.ddos.com.
yeah. Well, what you need is that quest for the Holy Grail moment where, luckily, the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. Fouling the plus edgy Amazon, I approve. I'll give an approving sip of tea for that.
Yeah, of all the coaches in this league, JuodasVarnas has been, I think, the least afraid to foul, which is what you need to be when you're playing halflings.
And that goes to my point about it's not just fouling doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's the context of who's doing the fouling, who's getting fouling. So many factors go into deciding when fouling is worth the risk or not. And this actually reminds me, a couple of years ago I was watching Pyrian Flex play his orc team called Foulbot 3000, which is, he had just 16 linemen, all of them and he would just foul. He would do nothing but foul. He actually won a couple of games. And the thing is that he would actually win most of them by a concession, because the opposing team would, get fouled, use their, they would use their APO and then not be willing to take the risk to their pieces, whereas he's got 16 linemen who he doesn't care if they go off the field. So, it's kind of like, a person driving a Lamborghini has to be a lot more careful on the road of the person driving, a cheap old clapper, because like, fine, mate, crash into me, I don't give a fuck. I've got a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's worth nothing, I don't care.
Sometimes
Crucially, is this okay? No long-term effects. So 2 things to note from that. Okay, great, that valuable piece has been injured, but JuodasVarnas needed to do that in the first 3 turns, so 8 turns too late. And secondly, no miss next game, so available for the final.
Yeah. I mean, there were some seriously nasty injuries on some of the halflings already. But in this situation, I can't see the halflings turning around, can you?
No. 5 turns, lost possession. This is the Zons on his line. Here's the Zons. I mean, I suppose Varnas, I understand how he would be disappointed with this result, but as well as he's played, as good a coach as he is, it's still a halfling team. And as much as the big takeaway for me is that the halfling teams are not as much of a joke team or a meme team as they get made out to be. Play them right, they can be a real threat. I mean, look at this shit. It doesn't work out, but
Oh, this is the second time there's a 1 on the landing. I think I agree with the guy who's in chat who says I would do a touchdown here. I suppose it's a knockout round, you don't have to have any mercy. But just, so many of them out now.
just go for the score, try and get the extra 3 SPP from another touchdown.
Yeah, and then, then line up, have to bring in their halflings. all their trees to the.
Well,
attack
actually,
again.
look, Viking does make a good point. If he scores here, he's got to line up against those trees again.
Yeah.
But then again, the way I look at the risk in this situation is I would be happy to take that risk of fronting up against the trees because you've got dodge on everybody. So
And that,
You
kids,
can-
is why we're commentating and
Yeah.
not in the semis.
yeah. Well, let me tell you what the right thing to do is, as someone who won only 2 games throughout the competition and got eliminated. I'm really curious to think of what this actually does for the Amazons in terms of how much SPP he's gained here, because he's already got a pretty scary team. It's going to be interesting to look at the team lineup and see what he's going to do with his level ups. Oof, another injury. And that's on a catcher. No long-term effect. So of the Amazons, let's see, we've got 4 injuries. I kind of think all of them are... Let's see, what have we got? We've got a... Loses 1 point in armor value. We've got a no long-term effect. Fractured leg, missed next game, but that's just a line woman, so who cares? And a no long-term effect. And the -1 AV is just on an unleveled line woman, so that doesn't really make a difference either.
Yeah, I don't want to say lucky the Amazons have played very well here, but the Halflings got some horrible injuries. I think if those casualty rolls have been reversed, you might be looking to find a little bit more trepidation.
I mean, it feels like another one of those games where it was kind of decided by turn 3. If it's your drive, you lose possession of the ball and they're in your half by turn 3 and you've got 4 injuries. Oh, I don't know. That's...
Can I just take my hat off though to JuodasVarnas for still throwing Halflings even at this late stage.
Yeah.
Not many of them left, but
Oh,
what they
yeah.
are, if they come to the tree, they're getting thrown.
Well, at that point, why not?
Is he down to 3 Halflings now?
So he's got
One in his own, no, sorry, 4 Halflings.
2 in his own half and 2 on their asses in the enemy's half. And these trees are so fucking slow. Oh, look at it, just go for it. It's throwing go for it with abandon. I love this.
And there's a tree, so going for it doesn't even get you any damage. Horrible.
So we're kind of having a laugh here, but if I know JuodasVarnas, he is making the plays, however unlikely, that still gives him a chance of being to equalize. And I'm just trying to see, well, right before that injury happens, I'm trying to see what the path to the equalizer is in this situation. I mean, if he had
No,
that...
I mean, I think the only way to get an equaliser, I think this is why he has 2 Halflings in each half, is that you somehow manage to, on red dice, push the Amazon out, get a ball scattered to the mid or somewhere near a Halfling, have your Halfling run to the tree man and lob the tree man long. I think this is the only out, and I think that's what he's been playing for.
Yeah, which obviously wasn't going to happen now. We got 1 turn left here for JuodasVarnas. Rip.
At least he finally has a chance to kick some Amazons in with some trees.
And the thing is, what's a downside about these elimination games is that it kind of takes away that satisfaction of, at least I can kick the shit out of them, because it ultimately doesn't matter.
That's true.
So this now is all about damage mitigation for the Amazons. So let's look at the pieces he's put on the line. The unleveled blitzer, the level 1 catcher, and the plus edgy line woman. Like, I'm just looking at his other pieces, and I don't actually... I might have actually not have
I
put
would
that
put a
plus
catcher
edgy.
there, I think, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
With the block advantage.
He's gotten away with it though. That 4 edgy line woman is fine. Come on, throw it. No, you useless little shit. And that's the game.
Oh.
GG. Again, well played, VirtualViking. As much as we're all enjoying, dumping on him for his Amazon bullshit, and another solid performance from the Amazons.
I can't believe there's only 8 armor breaks here for the Amazons. Surely not.
Where's the armor breaks?
If you go to the result,
8 armor breaks. Only 23 blocks succeeded. It's not a lot. So actually, 8 out of 23.
I suppose if there's no halflings, you can't hit them.
Yeah. 200 IQ. Can't kill your halflings if they're all off the field. SPP 11, 16, 17, 20. That's very, very nice. D6s for the never dying. 32 ones. Ouch. Block dice for never dying. 16 attacker downs.
Horrible.
Not a lot of snake eyes.
Quite a bit like a dice screw.
Yeah. Frenzied for Stobbs. Block dice. Only 5 attacker downs and 10 powers. That's pretty... well, I mean, only 5 both down, so his dice rolls are skewed a bit high there, but it's not that many dice. The D6 is only 16. That's pretty evenly spread. Going forward, it's 100% success for the Amazons. That's quite nice for them. Dodges 64%. That's about what it would be with 3 edgy. Yeah, solid performance. So now, what does that mean for... I can actually confirm the round now. And that means our final is going to be VirtualVikings Frenzied for Stobbs up against Master Freedom's Proto Molecule. Let's take a look at the teams and do a bit of theory crafting here. What do we think this final is going to look like?
Well, it's going to be Amazons versus the Necromantic. So I expect to see a lot of running. A lot of smashing on the side of the Amazons, and probably, struggling to control the werewolves, maybe because.
Brief correction: it's not the Necromantic; it's the Underworld. But I'm just looking at the Zons, and I don't see any additional skills. It looks like pretty much the same team. I don't think any skills were gotten from that semi-final. If we look at where's the Underworld Denizens, I'm not seeing any waiting to level up, so I don't know if he got any level ups. Got a new thrower, you have to buy a new thrower. I feel like that accurate on the one thrower is a new skill. So looking at these teams, I think you kind of have to back the Amazons. I think are the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, having seen them play so well, I think it will be a tight game. I'll be very interested to see how it goes down.
I kind of hope it's going to be tight and even throughout. What I don't want to see is another game where the kickoff event leads to a blitz, which kind of leads to, the game being over before it starts. Yeah. My concern for Master Freedom is he only has 1 tackle piece. That would be my worry. The +4, the 2 4 edgy linemen are great for ball handling, but they're not even that quick. God, I don't know. That's going to be great. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and TheExile, thanks for taking the time to co-commentate. Much appreciated. The insight especially is appreciated. Yeah, so we are going to be playing the final most likely on Sunday, live on Twitch, 7 p.m. CST. I hope you'll join me then. If not, we might get some guest commentators in. And
I should be available, and I'd love to be here.
Nice, great. See you then.